What up, guys? What up? What up? I'm getting things set up. Um, just getting a few things set up, guys. So we'll get started with the live stream in a few minutes, about 2-3 minutes. So kind of give everybody time. Probably about 5 minutes. We'll get started. Give everybody time to kind of join the live stream. There's a few things I'm trying to get set up real quick, and yeah, guys. Then we'll get started. There's a few changes that I made. Again, I had issues with Restream. That's what I was using before. So, um, initially I was using an OBS Studio Restream. Let's see. And there's a few settings that I have not changed. So, like for example, in OBS Studio, some of the settings that I had was set for um, ultra high def settings. I don't think I have that setting set up on. I'm using Streamlabs. Normally, I use Streamlabs when I stream on Twitch only. But I'm streaming today on YouTube Streamlabs. So just gonna do one thing real quick, and then we'll get started. Okay. All right. Let me get one more thing, and then we'll get started. Let me get my mic set up. All right, that's a lot better. Hey, what up, guys? What up? What up? I am Lou, and hopefully y'all doing good today, man. On this Friday, um, my day's been pretty busy, man. I'm enjoying my day. Again, it's drinking with Lou, and we're gonna be drinking. I'm gonna be tasting some new tequilas, and I got a few requests. So we're gonna kind of go through a few items of um one of them relates to Python. We're gonna this app that we kind of been working on the live stream, the last two live streams. We're gonna make some changes there, and I got another request related to how do we move files from Sharepoint over to an AWS S3 bucket, but without coding it, right? I have a video that I created how to do that using Python. But ultimately, the request here is that, hey, how do we do that without using Python, right? Using some sort of UI type tool. So we're gonna try to see what we could do in those cases, those scenarios, and yeah, try to see what we could do there. So before we get started with anything, though, um, I'm using Streamlabs to stream, and I'm trying to see if my chat is gonna show anything. So let me go to a YouTube Studio real quick, and I may just have to do it from there. Let's see. Okay, there it goes. Boom. Yeah, I don't know why my chats are not showing up under my Streamlabs, so I need to get that set up, and I'll do that later. But for now, let me just move this to the side. And all right, now so Python developer just sent a message. He'll be joining 15 minutes late, which is fine. It's all good. So whenever he joins, he had the request of some items that he wanted to kind of wanted me to review and share on the live stream. So whenever he joins, we'll kind of go through that. But for right now, again, those who are new to the stream, it's drinking with Lou. I'm gonna be tasting new tequilas. One of the new tequila that I have, I have heard actually a lot of good things about this one. Now, I feel like I got duped from a bottle standpoint. When you look at the bottle, it has no face to it, right? No label. It has the back label. Normally, this bottle comes with a nice looking patch, and then of course some sort of like metal agave symbol in the middle. It looks nice. It actually looks real nice. Well, this is not the only one. There were other bottles that I saw at the store. They did not have it. They were missing it for some reason, which is kind of odd. I'm not sure what happened there or why it's missing it, but nevertheless, this bottle called Los Arengo. So Lao Los Arengo, Arango. So this is a premium tequila. And one of the things that I'm a big fan of when the smell's strong. Like, I like that, but you got to be cautious with that. A lot of the time when the smell is too strong, that's probably more likely because they're adding infusers to it, right? They're adding the flavor of the agave, like to kind of make it taste like it. Cause what happens is when it gets diffused too many times, it loses all that flavor. So what they have to do is they start adding flavor to it, pretty much, or trying to add the authentic type flavor. But that's not natural. I think, in the end of the day, that's really not natural. And this, based on what I heard about and what I read about, this kind of falls in the natural method, the old school methods of tequilas. So that's what makes this one very interesting. Which is one of the reasons why I like it. Now, it is a premium tequila. I paid $40 for it. I think normally when you go to the store in general, it's like 44, $45. So it's not cheap. It's kind of, again, in my mind, anything over $39, normally it's premium tequila. Um, Now it doesn't mean just because it's premium is gonna be good. So it just all depends, right? That's the reason why I'm tasting different um, tequilas and trying to get familiar with what's good. There are some tequilas that are actually cheaper that I have tasted that are real good, like $30, $25 even, that are actually real good tequilas. Um, Not just good tequilas, but I mean, A, they're good for their price point, but B, they're just good in general. I mean, that's the other thing. They're actually real good in general. So that's the whole purpose here. But let's go ahead and taste it. I wish I could show you the label so you know how it looks. This really has no label, which kind of makes it seem naked, right? But it's just odd because all of the ones that I saw, none of them had the label, and the label is actually very cool. And who knows? I don't know if it's one of those deals where it's like somebody saw and they're like, "Damn, I want the label," and they stole it or something. Who knows, right? Who knows? I'm not sure. But again, man, those there who are joining, who are new in this series, that's what's called Drinking with Lou. Because I'm drinking, and by all means, if you're drinking, leave it in the chat. Let me know what you're drinking. I'm a tequila guy. I love tequila, which is one of the reasons why you see me drink a lot of tequila. But I don't just drink tequila, I drink bourbons as well, whiskeys, you know. So I do like that as well. But tequila, without a doubt, has to be one of my favorites. The smell, it smells good. It has a nice smell to it. It's pretty strong too. It smells good because you smell the flavors, and so you kind of get a smell of all the flavors of the tequila, and then a little bit you get the alcohol smell, but like very small. What you smell is the flavors, and again though, this based on what I was hearing from other people and reading, the way this tequila is made is very authentic, the old school way of like the proper way, right? The right way to make tequila, which makes it even more interesting because it has all these flavors, like at least from a smell standpoint. It smells good, man. I do like it. So now let's give it a taste. The taste is good. I feel like it's like the taste actually has like flavor to it, right? I'm trying to think what is it that I taste. I taste something. I can't pinpoint it what it is. It tastes good though overall. I'm gonna say it's a nice solid tequila. I love the smell. It has a good taste. They're supposed to be very authentic on the way on how they make these tequilas, which makes it even better in my mind. So, man, I'm liking it, man. I gotta say I am liking it. I love the smell, dude. I love that smell. That smells it's just so good, dude. Something about the smell, just I don't know, man. I love it. Again, guys, we're gonna get started in a few. Just kind of want like to again taste the tequila that I'm gonna be sharing with y'all. Those of you who are new to my stream, um, every Tuesdays and Fridays I do a live stream. Tuesdays is called Hanging with Lou. Fridays is called Drinking with Lou. Again, it's called drinking because that's what I'm doing. I'm drinking. And on Tuesday, it's called hanging because that's what we're doing, we're hanging out. But nevertheless, on both of the live streams, um, it's the perfect time to ask if you need help with any of your code. If you want me to show you, maybe like, hey, how do you do X, Y, and Z? I am very focused on Python. I know how to code in other languages, but nevertheless, right now, I think the way I'm directing my channel, I think I'm going to be directing it to Python. So that's kind of the path that I feel I'm taking my channel to when it comes to coding. But nevertheless, if you have any questions, you need any help, um, any of that stuff, by all means, this is the time um, to jump on, leave a comment, let me know what you need help with, and by all means, we see what we could do. See if we could help. You know, if I could help you out, solve any problem that you have, and so on. Right. So that's kind of what we do here. You know, we're nothing but good vibe, just hanging out, having a drink, talking code, solving coding problems, all of that. So by all means, that's what we do, and you know that's the whole purpose of here, man. Of Friday nights, drinking with Lou, is to do that. But again, man, hopefully y'all doing good on this Friday. Let me know what y'all drinking. Leave in the chat. If you're just drinking water, hey, that's awesome. Nothing wrong with that, right? I got my glass of water over here too, right? So I'm a bit, when I do drink, I'm a big fan as well, staying hydrated. Especially if I'm gonna be drinking a decent amount, man. I always gotta keep that water, man. I mean, that's something that I don't ever get like wasted drunk or nothing like that. But every once in a while, I mean, we may if I go out to dinner and we're having a few drinks and you know having a good time, I could easily catch myself having a few, you know, glasses. You know, when I say glasses, I mean small glasses, of course, like this, but of some whiskey. And next thing you know, I had 4 or 5, and I feel it. I feel the buzz big time, but got to make sure to stay hydrated, right? So that's key for me for sure. But man, again, any of y'all join in, that's what we do. We're gonna talk code. So let's go ahead and again, we do have a request, and once the viewer, the viewer, the subscriber joins, then we'll start on trying to solve some of the problems. He actually had 2 questions. One of them was related to moving data from SharePoint over to AWS S3 bucket. So I have a video on related to that. So you can check out the video if you want to know how to do that using Python. Now, if the request here was, hey, how do we do that? Not using code, like some sort of UI tool. And we'll go through that. I mean, again, I'm focused more on code. I don't focus too much on like UIs, but we do have UI tool that we use, and like in my business. So I'm gonna end up using that to see what we could do when it comes to moving over some stuff. One of the things that I may do to kind of get started for now is let me go ahead and log in to my AWS account. The only thing about it is that I'm going to have to do this under my AWS account for my business. The reason why is because the server that I have this this software to kind of automate, like more from a UI standpoint, it's located in one of my production servers. And you know, it really right now my AWS command line interface is connected to my business AWS account, not my YouTube account, which is what I use for YouTube purposes. So that's because of that. I'm gonna have to log in. So and it's fine. I'll do that. Let me just kind of get logged in. At least just to kind of be ready, and ultimately I'm gonna have to create a folder for that. So let's see. And it should be fine. I don't think none of the information is going to get shown. I just need to find some sort of test folder. Hey, what's up, Python developer? See that you're on now. How's everything going? So it seems like you finally got home. How's your night going so far? All right, give me one second, guys. All right, guys. All right, so let's see. Okay, guys. So okay, so let's go ahead and get all right, so I think Python the developer is on. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. I know you had 2 requests. So I think what we could do is let's get started. We'll do your drop down request that you had. So this relates to the app that we've been kind of building throughout the live streams. Ultimately, it's doing some data scraping and downloading the top 250 movies, and then it's loading that information to a database. So one of the things that came, one of the requests was about adding. Let me go ahead and share my screen. There it goes. So one of the requests came up was to add a drop down of the top, let's say 10, 20, whatever videos, in order to give the user the ability to kind of select how much rows to kind of retrieve back in the query. So let's play around with that. First, let's go ahead and let me get a terminal up and going. Next, let me make this bigger. Code, YouTube, GitHub repos, Flash. There it goes. So now let me go ahead and activate my environment. All right, and now let's go ahead and run it. All right, cool. Which is fine. I mean, it's going to show not found because, let's go ahead and go to the URL path. Here it goes to this guy. So right now, the way we built it, we really just we have this table grid down here in the bottom. And then, of course, we have just a button that ultimately just gets data. So I think ideally what we should do is probably get rid of this button, get top 10. And what we could do is here in the table grid, we could add a drop down on top of the header, and then a button, like a search button right next to it. So like that, from the drop down, you'll be able to select top 10, top 50, whatever you're trying to retrieve back. And then of course you have the search button to ultimately search, to run the process to search it, which the search button is going to be pretty much almost equivalent to this guy, right? Now, right now, this guy is just calling the URL that we have for get top 10 which is this URL here. Ultimately, what we're gonna probably create another path. We're gonna call it something different, like search top movies or something like that. And then again, based on the drop down that we provide, that's going to be that's going to get added to the SQL query to kind of retrieve that information. So let's kind of walk through it, and we'll play around with it and kind of go from there. So I have some ideas what we could do here. So I have the project open. Let's look at our HTML, right? So where's my header at? All right, here's my header. Here's my table. So inside this div, this is where I think we could add that. I don't know why the hell this is not working. I need a let me try to find the right extension, because man, I hate that. It should auto complete and populate, but it's not. I'm not sure why. Let's see. I don't know why the hell this. I mean, I need to see what packages I have installed or something, man. I must be missing something, but that's fine. We'll deal with that later. Got my tequila, so you know we're gonna get some code done today. So let's see. So I think for this we'll create a row. We'll do a drop down. So I'm trying to think. Since this is a very basic application that we're working on, we're gonna just create a drop down list ad hoc. Normally, like I want to call it, especially in an app where you're gonna have multiple modules and things of that nature. Then I would do things a little bit different. I would create certain objects that would contain that list, and then ultimately we will be able to populate those objects to the UI, and it could be reused for other modules and so on. But again, we're going to do it a little bit differently, and again, it's fine for what we're trying to do. Yeah, you're right. Tequila is here. Nothing to fear. So what we're gonna do, let's do a select let me see something real quick. I want to just look at the bootstrap. Selector. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and just copy this. Kind of just speed up the process real quick. I don't know why my completion, it's not working. I have no idea why, man. So this will be blank. Or let me rephrase it. Open the select menu. What I do is select numbers of number of movies to display. Right, we'll do something like that. Then ultimately we'll do, we could do 10. I don't know. What are you thinking? Like, we could do 10, 50, 100, 50, 100. We could do something like that. And then we'll do a... So we will do it and trying to think here. So we're gonna have to do a form as well. Now that I think about it, this is gonna have to be a form. Let's see. So we'll do a form. The method would be a post. The action would be, in this case, we gotta create a URL pass, but I guess I'll call it. What did I call the other one? Let me take a look at it real quick. There it goes. Get top 10 movies. So what I'll probably do here is I'll call it, again, it's not gonna be a get no more because I'm gonna be passing in a value over, so it's gonna be a post. I mean, it's a post method, but we are getting data back. But let me, so let's see, we'll call this search movies. And this will be a post. And then our function, we'll just call it search movies. I think that's about right. All right, so now that we got that, search movies, we'll play around with how we're gonna search it and all of that, but at least we got the name search movies. Let me go back to my HTML, and this is gonna call this guy search movies, and of course we're gonna be posting this form. So let me give this a name. We'll call this search number. Let's call it that. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is we're gonna create a button. This will be submit. And we'll call this button name search. All right, so this will be a submit type by us. Because it's a submit type, it's gonna submit this form whenever we press some search, and ultimately you're gonna pass this value to the backend. Because it's passing to the backend, we'll be able to include that into the search results. Okay, so let's see how that looks real quick. Okay, so need to fix this a little bit. Actually like it better side by side, but all right. So what? Let's see. Um, let me see something real quick. You know what? That's what I could do. Never mind. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but that actually works. Let me do that. So let me add under class. I don't know. We'll do this 3. I think the button could stay as is. Oops. Oh, you know what? Damn it. Damn it. That's my mistake. So I need to put this in a div. Let me look at the form setup real quick. So if I look at the bootstrap, or look at form control, we would do a div. Let's see. We have a form class row already. Oh, we didn't do that. I did the row outside of it. I should have added it to my form. And next, I want to put it side by side. And yep, I need to put this into its own div. So that's what I need to do. So let me do that real quick. All right. Yes, and this was, let's specify this guy as column. Let's do 3. We'll do column 3 as well. That's fine. There it goes. And what I could do here is, I don't think you know what, I'm trying to think. I don't think I need a row for this guy, but what I do need is, let me add some padding. There it goes. And then, so now we can select from our drop down, and of course hit submit. So now let's kind of get it connected for it to work properly. You know what? I need to put an actual label on here too. Damn, I should have done that as well. I don't know why I didn't do that. So this would be search count, I guess. I don't know. We'll call it search count for now. That's fine. I don't want it that way either. Damn it. Okay, I want it next to it. So what I'm gonna have to do here is then let me take this away. We'll do, it should be fine, I think. Yep, that should be fine. Yeah, that's too much. So let me actually make this 2. Let me move this back, man. I don't like it that way. I'm gonna move this back to the way I had it over here. And I think what we could do here is make this row label. What the hell? I know I'm missing something. Let's see, what am I missing? You know what? I'm missing my class form control. That's why. Yep, that's, I believe this is some. No, but you know what? It should be form select. That's not it. You know what? I guess I do have to put it the way I had it already before. Let's see. Let me put it the way I had it before. That should be fine for what we're trying to do. All right. All right, so we have drop down, search. Okay, so now let's fix our search. Okay, so one of the things that I need to bring in, and we're gonna kind of copy this from what we did in our get top 25 movies. So see how we got this request form? Well, it's the same concept. We have a request. We're gonna use the request form as well, but of course, in this case, it's not for the URL. It's gonna be more for the search. What did I call it? Count. Let me see. What did I call this? Search number. My bad. Search number. That's the name that I gave it. So it's gonna be called search number. So let me call this search number. So now we're bringing we're able to extract that value, right, from the actual from the form, because the form, that whatever forms we have is being pushed on to this function that we have. Since we're doing the same concept of what we're doing here to get top 10, we could copy pretty much all of this, I'm gonna say. So let's go ahead and copy this. Now the tweaks that we're gonna make is gonna be this guy. So down here we have limit 10, right? So one of the things that I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a SQL object, and ultimately this is gonna be this right here. I'm gonna just take this guy, put it over here. Now what the difference is, where it says SQL limit, let me make this and this guy would be search number. All right, so this is going to get populated in the limit, and ultimately that's how it's going to know how to query the amount of record that we want back. And then of course for execution, I'm going to just replace that with the SQL. Now we do need to probably put some logic from a sense of for example, I'm going to do if search number equals blank, right? It doesn't equal a number, it just blank. And blank would be because they don't select nothing. They leave it as is. So if I were to go to inspect and we take a look at it, as you could tell right now this is selected, but there is no value here at all assigned to it, which is most likely going to be blank. It should be blank anyways, because there's no number. If it happens to be blank, then I want to assign a number. This is kind of more like a safe check, I guess you could say. So this could be whatever number we want it to be, right? This could be like, hey, if nobody picks anything, it'll get defaulted to 10, right? Simple as that. But if somebody picks a number, it'll be whatever the number, whatever they pick. And let me just, for now, I'm going to just print. I want to be able to see search number. And let's see. Man, I think that may be it. Let's test it out. Let me refresh. Oops, I need to run it. Alright, cool. So if I just hit search, remember if I hit search, we build logic, it should be 10. Boom, it's not. Let's see what happened here. So let me print my statement to see what am I getting back for SQL. My bad. Print SQL. So let's take a look at how that actually looks. Let's see. Oh man, it says select number of oh shit. Okay, never mind. So let's probably do this. I know why. Because I'm displaying this value, and that's actually the value that I'm getting back, because I don't have a value selected. What I probably should have done here would have been value equals blank. So let's do that. Oops. All right, what am I getting back? Same thing. Let me remove this. I don't want it to be selected to that. That's the value. Let me save. I'm gonna actually make this blank. Let's do that for now. You know what? Damn it! I need to go back. That's why. Shit. Let me refresh. There it goes. Search count. Probably should change it to select search count or something like that. Either way. So if it's blank, we hit search. Boom, we get 10, which is exactly what we wanted. We wanted 10. If we want to see more, we should be able to select 50. We got 50 back. Or 100. Boom, we got 100 back. Now what we could do as well is we could do some kind of record count or something on top. Just kind of know what we, what we dealt with, what we're dealing with here. So let me create another div. Let's see. right, so now let me go back. Let's see, anyhow to solve the home page problem, because now every time we need to add so there is one thing. So the reason initially when we kind of went through this, we started building this out. I created it the way I created it, more so with the flexibility where if you were to add other pages, right? Like you're gonna do data scraping for other data sources that you're gonna be pulling in. I know we're only doing movies, but let's say you want to do, you know, new release movies. That could be a different page. If you wanted to do some completely different website, you know, then you could create a section for that, and it makes it a little bit easier to add that on. Now, if you're not going to use it for nothing else but strictly this and this only, then in theory, none of that is needed. We didn't have to break it out that way. Now, one quick fix that we could probably do is just redirect the homepage. And we could try to do that real quick, which means if somebody goes to the homepage, it'll just redirect them to this URL here automatically. So, you know, you still kind of keep that structure in place, but at least from a home page for now, it just redirect you to this section. Which is pretty much what will happen. So let's see, when we do our search, we render the template, we pass in the list. Let me bring in search count. This would be search count equals, where is it, list? And then ultimately this could be brought in over here. So if I were to refresh, let's see what happened. There goes 10. And again, we could add on here search count. And then what I could add over here would be select search count. Again, you could always tweak it later, but at least it's kind of just gives you, there it goes, search count, select search count. If we do 100, boom, we see 100 over here. All right, cool. So that seems to work. I think we're good on that piece. So your question was about the home page, right? So we want to be able to fix it where if you click on the home page right now, it says not found. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do a redirect, and we're going to redirect it to this other pass that we're working on, right? So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's see. So I'm going to look at my web apps. So let me think. So this is bringing in source, this guy. So what I'm going to do here is, just to kind of make it a little bit easier, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it home.py. Right. And I'm going to copy a lot of the stuff that we have over here. Not everything, because I don't need all of this. I don't need database, environment variables. I don't need none of that. Only thing I need here is going to be, we are going to copy this because we need this. And then of course, and this will be a redirect. Let me just copy this for now. This is really what we need. Then I'm gonna have to bring in this guy and then the redirect. So I don't need send files. I do need redirect. I don't need render template, and I don't need request. Alright, but I do need redirect. And then just like the way we did it over here for the redirect, there it goes right here, redirect the specific URL. That's kind of what we're gonna do here. We're just gonna redirect. If somebody clicks there in the home page, we're gonna redirect them to this URL, but without any message or none of that. So it will be this. I'm gonna call this home page. I'm gonna remove this. So this will just be blank. We're not gonna have any URL paths because it's home. We're gonna call this home. Let me change the name here to home. Home. All right. So now that we have all of that, I need to bring this in to my web app. So let me put it to the side. Yeah, cool. So now I need to bring that in. It will be source.home import home mod. All right. And then now I need to register this. And the way we do that will be app. Let me put it first. App register blueprint home mod URL prefix will equal just a /. So now let's see if this works. So this works. If I go to home, boom, there it goes. See how it redirected us? If I delete this and then I hit enter, it redirects us to this page. So that solved the whole home problem issue that we had. Okay, cool, man. I think that worked out as planned. So what I'm gonna do is let's go ahead and deploy this to Heroku. So ultimately, I'm gonna have to change it back to this repo. Initially, I changed it to my GitHub to deploy this over to my GitHub account, but now I'm gonna change it back to Heroku repo, and then of course we'll do a quick deploy, and everything should be work fine. So this is just a good example when you are making changes. You know, it's pretty straightforward. It literally would be, in my case, I need to change it back to my remote repo in Heroku. Python Flask I am blue 02. Come on. There it goes. Cool. Yes, I need to add this. Let's add. So I'm gonna call this. Did I add it already? Yep. We're gonna say add it search feature search count feature and redirect home URL to IMDb. Oops, damn it. All right, so let's see. So now I'm gonna do git push Heroku main. All right, so that should rebuild and go through the whole process. And let's see. So the AWS Kindra that you mentioned about, that's not used for that. That's not used to move data over to an S3 bucket. So that feature is more so used for like search abilities. Like if you're, let's say if you have an app where you're kind of searching for specific keywords or things of that nature, that what that actually does is it has the ability to connect to your SharePoint. And of course, as you connect to SharePoint, it's able to scan through all of your, let's say, Word docs, PDF documents, things of that nature. Like there's specific documents that it could scan, and it's able to ultimately read the data that's in there. So if you're trying to do a search for, I don't know, like let's say if you have a SharePoint folder and you have 1,000 files in there, it could be sales data, it could be call CRM data or something. Um, that you could connect it, and ultimately it could do a read, and it could kind of search through a lot of these files looking for specific keywords. But it has some machine learning abilities to kind of get smart, and then what it does as it get results back, it kind of index that information. So as you do more result like searches, it gets optimized. It speeds up the process. It's not necessarily it's not designed for, I think, what you were thinking, which is more so I have data here in SharePoint, and I want to move this data over to AWS. That it really doesn't do. Now I know what your request was. Hey, like we know we could do it through code, right? Like I actually made a video related to that, but you want to be able to see is how to do it through a UI. So there is a way to do it. Well, let me rephrase it. In order to do it through a UI, most likely you're gonna have to use some kind of tool to do it. AWS doesn't have any tool built in to do that. Azure, I don't. Azure has a tool to move, like extract data. For example, a good example to be extract data from files, like CSV files from an S3 bucket, and then load it to, um, let's say, an Azure Synapse environment or a SQL Server database. For example, it has those abilities to do that, but it's not moving necessarily the files over. It's more extracting data. And then as you extract it, it loads it to what's called a Parquet file in Azure. Think of it as a kind of like it's a format that it creates more so for the purpose of for kind of like having a CSV file, but CSV very raw. A Parquet file, it's kind of like a compressed version of it, I guess you could say, different format, but it has the raw data, and it's able to read and load that data very easy, especially if you're doing like queries, like on a serverless database. So like SQL serverless is pretty much what it does. Is when you query it, it brings in those files into memory, allows you to query it, but it's not loading the data into an actual database. But again, that's slightly different. Let's see. Kinesis, API Gateway, SFTP. So, I mean, those are different methods, but unless you have a tool that will automate those steps for you, like for example, the tool that I was using, Visual Crohn's, that tool can do what you're seeking, which would be step one: download files from SharePoint, it'll save it locally. Then step two would be, okay, upload those files and upload it to an S3 bucket, and you put those in steps, right? So that kind of goes back down to like even like an SFTP. Well, again, SFTP has nothing to do with SharePoint. You will still have to move the files from SharePoint over to an SFTP, which you could do with a tool like Power Automate, which is Microsoft Power Automate. You may be able to do it through that, where you create a job, right? That's Microsoft's tool to do that kind of stuff, and then ultimately you connect to SharePoint. You should probably be able to download the files and save them, drop them to an SFTP, but you're still going to have some kind of service to now take those files from SFTP, then upload it to AWS. Let's see. Will an organization use that tool since the data is confidential? So the tool, like, not just so the tool that I'm talking about specifically, like the one that I use, but it doesn't have to be that tool, right? There's other tools that kind of do the like similar functionality, but the tool is locally, and by that I mean it's not in the cloud. It's a tool that you gotta install on some kind of server that you have. Now I have the tool that I use, Visual Crohn's. I have it installed in one of my AWS EC2 instances, so that's where it's running. But again, I have security on that instance, so there's a lot of layers. You got to be logged into a VPN first. Then from there, you got to have credentials to connect to that server just to begin with, things of that nature. But either whichever tool that you do use, the tool really has nothing to do with from being confidential. As long as you have it running, let's say somewhere on your network in your organization, if that's the case, right? Like again, it's not a cloud-based tool that somebody else is running on behind the scene. This is more of a tool that you got to install on your own server or whatever server that you have, and then from there you create the steps to do what you wanted to do. So yeah, man. Let's kind of I'll kind of walk through that with you. So let me just look at this real quick though. I want to look at the I want to open up the Heroku app real quick. So boom, now if I go to home, it redirects me. Awesome. So that works just like it's supposed to. Cool. Everything works good. So I'll promote these changes over. I'll actually do that after the live stream. I'll get these changes pushed over to my GitHub repo, and then of course you can see the changes. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's look at. Let me remote into my server. And let me drink me some tequila. Okay. So I'm kind of in my I have like a development folder, and that's kind of where I have it in at right now. So the way this tool works, again, every tool is different, but the tool that I'm using, the way this works, you got to create what's called connections. So let's say in this tool, because this tool is all step based, right? So kind of give you an example. When you create a job, that job is going to have multiple tasks or steps. In this case, they call it task. So the task could be A, B, and C, whatever it is you want to do, right? You could do, connect to download files from FTP. Then it could be move them over to this folder. That's step 2. Step 3 could be extract the data or do some kind of process or whatever. Again, it's all step based, so it depends on how you want to build it. So for example, I have this one job that I was playing with, and ultimately it says SharePoint to S3, because that's kind of what you're trying to do, right? SharePoint to an S3 bucket. So right now, one of the steps that I created, let me give it a better name. It's going to be download files from SharePoint. Download file from SharePoint, and I'm going to say save to local folder. So what this is doing is, because again, I'm remote into the server, it's going to download, what it should happen, it's going to download files from SharePoint, and then it's going to save them to a whatever path you want it to be saved to. So if we take a look at it real quick, so this is my SharePoint that I created, again, specifically for YouTube purposes, which is, you know, it has my URL path and all there. I am Lou YouTube. And then this is my site. My site is called Development. So it's sites/Developments, and then share documents YouTube. Now, once you create your connection has your credentials. So whenever I first created a connection, you got to put in your username and password, then ultimately do a test to connect. And if that works, then you save it. And by you saving that connection, which is done in this other section, you could use multiple. You use those credentials or that connection multiple times, right, for different jobs, steps, and etc. So, but let's say once you deconnect, the way this would work. So let me just delete this, right? Kind of show you. It's kind of small, and I can't really make it bigger, but hopefully it's, you know, it's good enough to visualize. I don't know if there's a way to make it bigger or not, but I cannot make this screen bigger anyways. So either way, if we were to click on the folder, what it's doing, it's actually connecting to my SharePoint site. That's why it takes a while to load, but it's connecting, and you can see site development. So it connected to my development site. So now it kind of shows all of my folders. Some of these you really won't see technically in SharePoint unless you go to it directly. But the ones that we want to go to where you create your documents, it's called shared documents. Then in here, you know, based on whatever folders you got created, I have a YouTube folder. I created one called YouTube. And then I created another folder inside of that called 2022. So just kind of find whatever folder it is that you're trying to connect to. And in my case, once I click on that, there's a section here to select folder. So I click on it, and ultimately it's going to select that folder. And then boom, it populates it. If I go to destination, now there's other configurations you could add on here. Like, don't check if older than a specific date, right? So maybe you're trying to get newer data only or things of that nature. You could kind of add some filtering to it as well. The size, you could add some limitations of if it's too big or too small, don't download it as well. So there's stuff that you could do. You could sort it, limit results. It's up to you to play around with it. But let's go look. In our case, I don't want to download everything. Doesn't matter if it's large or small. And then I'm going to do a destination. So destination, I'm going to save it to my local machine. And ultimately, this is my local machine here. I just created a folder under downloads called I am Blue SharePoint. So what should happen right now, that folder, let me see. Where is it? So go to downloads. Where is that folder? There it goes. I am Blue SharePoint. So it's empty right now, right? So there's nothing in there. It's empty. Then you could add logic here. Override if it exists already. Override if source is newer, or don't override. Delete source file after download. So again, there's things that you could do here. In my case, I'm going to say override if exists. That's all I'm going to do. So, but keep a look at this, guys. See where it says download source file after download, delete source file. So that's a good example where if you have files in SharePoint, and let's say you got 100 files, well, if you download those files, and you know, in this case, the first step is download to your local machine. If you check this, what's going to happen is it's going to delete what's in SharePoint as well. So like it downloads what's in SharePoint, it saves it. After it finishes saving it, then it's going to download those files from SharePoint. So you don't have to worry about going back and re-download it if that's what you want, right? If you don't want to do that, just of course uncheck it, and then you'll be fine in that case. So So that's kind of what I'm doing here. And let me go ahead and hit OK. So that's step number one, what we saw here. Step number one is to download. Let's just run it, right? I just want to test it real quick. So I think if there's a way to test it from here. There we go. I could test job. So now I'm going to go ahead and run tests. Let's see. There it goes. So see, there's one file there. I don't know how many. There it goes. I believe I have 3 files total. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Boom. There you go. So I got 3 files. So it did what it's supposed to do. It downloaded the files from Sharepoint and it saved it to this folder. So, and again, what we just did right here is step 1, right? Because that's ultimately, if I go back to my main settings, this, no, my bad. This is step 1, download files from Sharepoint and save to local folder. So we know that worked fine. We tested it out and that actually worked fine. That's good. The next step that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to move these over to an S3 bucket. So for right now, I need to create a folder real quick. Oops. So let me get a folder real quick set up, and then we'll just drop it in there. Let me just create a new bucket. I'm gonna call this bucket I am blue. I am blue. I am blue 001 tests. All right. Create bucket. Oops. All right, cool. All right, cool. So now that I have this set up, let me make sure. Cool. All right, let me go and share my screen again. Okay, so now I created a bucket and I called it just I am blue 001 test, right? So that's my bucket. So now let me go back to this. I'm gonna hit OK. I need to find a job. I have a job, and just it's easier for me to just go ahead and copy it. Let me see real quick. You know what? I think I have something already on here. Boom. You know what? I could copy it from here. So S3 move. Yep, this is actually what I want. So I'm gonna copy this. This is for something else that I was doing, but this would work for what I'm doing. So the logic here is gonna be the actual command itself is AWS, and then the first argument is gonna be ultimately like which service are you using, right? So like in my case, I'm using the S3 service. But if you're gonna run, from the command line interface, you could start jobs. You could turn off EC2 instances. A good example would be like if you're, let's say if you want to save money and you have an EC2 instance installed, and maybe you wanted to shut off after 5 p.m. because nobody's using it, right? People only use it during work hours, 8 to 5. Then you can create a job where it runs a command. It'll shut off that instance, which means you don't get charged for that time. You could do the same thing for just other services as well. Jobs. A good one that I use for is the AWS Glue job. I have Glue jobs that run, and they run on schedule, and the way I execute it is via the command. But again, in this case, we're dealing with an S3 service, so that's my first argument. Then I'm going to be MV for move, because we're going to be moving files. The next thing is I need to provide what is the path where my files, I'm going to be moving my files from. So that's going to be this guy here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And that's my path of where I wanted to get all the files from. The next thing is going to be my bucket, S3 bucket. So I created, what did I call it? I am Lou 001 test. And let's see. So I don't have a folder, right? I create a folder. So I just create one. I'm gonna call it, let's say we create a folder, we call it staging. So I just call it staging. So it's gonna be this bucket and this folder staging. So that means I'm gonna then, in this case I have like multiple folders pretty much, but in my case I only have one, which is called staging. And then we're gonna have the recursion argument at the end. You gotta have the recursion argument. Without that, if you don't add it, it's not gonna be able to iterate over all of the files to upload to S3. You know, if you were only gonna upload one file at a time, then you would have to specify like file name.csv. Then ultimately recursion would not exist. This will be deleted, and then that would be your command to run. In my case, though, I don't want to provide each file one by one, you know, because the file name could be, you know, different names, right? So for me, I'm more concerned about, I want to just do a recursion, like iterate through the whole list of files and upload them all to S3. So this is pretty much our command here. So let me go ahead and copy this. And then I'm gonna go back to my job that I have, and I want to add another task. Again, the tasks are like steps. I'm gonna do just a process, execute, and I'm gonna call this upload files to AWS S3. And then let me go to execute. So under command, because I didn't go through this step, but it's something just to keep in mind. On whatever server you're going to be using, let's say you installed a software like what I'm using, for example, right? And then now you want to be able to use the AWS command line interface. Again, kind of like the Heroku command line interface, you have certain functionality. This case is the AWS command line interface. You got to install that. We didn't go through that process. But, you know, again, just type in AWS CIAL, and then, you know, you'll be able to find the command line interface, and then kind of follow the directions to get started, right? Just download, install, and then there's a few steps you would have to do, but nothing too hard, though. Once you do get it installed, ultimately, you would need to assign, like in AWS, you would need to have a identity user created that would have access to your S3 bucket, and then you will get your API keys, you know, from that user. And then whenever you install your AWS command line interface, you're gonna have to set those API keys so it knows, okay, I'm gonna be connecting to AWS via this user. Pretty much that's what it means. And based on that user, based on whatever access they have, like say for example, you got to make sure you give it S3 access. Then it'll be able to do different stuff, right? Upload, download, delete, things of that nature. That's a different video to do that, but nevertheless, you would have to set that up first. I already have that set up on this server, which is why I don't have to go through it. But once you do set it up, there would be a specific, I gotta find that program, which would be under project, program files, Amazon, this guy right here, AWS command line interface version 2. And then it will be this guy, AWS EXE. So I'm gonna open that up under my command. Ultimately, that's like what app I'm gonna be using. Then of course my arguments is gonna be what I had. Now what I need to remove is AWS. because AWS, when you run it in the terminal, that's actually the app that you're running, right? The command. Because I already specify that up here, I don't need it down here in my arguments. All I need to provide is my S3, MV, my source, and then of course my destination to my S3 folder. Then of course the recursion argument, because I wanted to iterate to the whole files to upload. The one thing to keep in mind, at least with this app, right? The app that I'm using, Visual Crohn's, which is the one I'm using. Whenever you do run it, see where it says run task as, it says no credentials. I need to run it as a actual user. In this case, I need to run it as I'm going to run it as my administrator user, because that's the account that I'm logged in under as right now. You just have to set it under a user, and then you'll be fine after that. So everything should be good the way it is. There's nothing else to really change. I mean, there's other functions and features you could add, but there's really nothing to do really. So once we have this set up, I'm gonna hit OK. So now we have two steps. Again, we're gonna download and then we're going to upload. And that's it. I mean, once we're done uploading, we're pretty much done, right? So let me go ahead and hit OK. What I want to do is, because I want to see this in action from beginning to end, I'm going to let me check real quick. I want to make sure that those files are still there. You know what? I may have to connect to it real quick. Let me connect to that. To my office, my SharePoint. I don't know why the hell this is taking so damn long. Okay, let me get my credentials. No. And let me go to SharePoint. What the hell is SharePoint at? Alright, there it goes. And then again, I'm going to go to sites, and I have this development site that I created. Then I'm going to documents. Again, under documents, I created a folder YouTube 2022, and then I have these files, right? So now let's go back. I'm going to delete these files. And now let's run this job from beginning to end. Right? I want to kind of see everything in action. So if I just click on the job, then I'm going to hit run. Then of course you'll see it start running, start to download the files. So if I come here, we'll see this start to download one by one. All right, cool. So now it's about to be done downloading. Now let me go back to my, oops, not here, but this guy. So if I take a look at my S3 bucket, boom, now we have files in here in S3. So as you could tell, I was able to accomplish without programming. There's some setup involved, but again, it's one of those deals. Once you set it up once, you're pretty much good after that, But nevertheless, the main things to set up, of course, you gotta install. Again, I'm using Visual Crohn's. Whenever I did research to try to find a tool like this, there's other tools out there that you could buy. Like another tool that I use. But I don't think it had that SharePoint functionality to work. Like this other tool, what is it called? RoboTask. Yeah, let me open it up real quick. So RoboTask is this other tool. So this tool I used initially to do some of my automation. Again, you could tell it's way more basic. It's way more cheaper. I believe this RoboTask was like $120 maybe or something like that. Or Visual Crohn's, is a little bit more pricey. I believe Visual Crohn's. I mean, let's take a look at their price. I know they have the price here somewhere. Let's go to order or basic. So they do have different. They have a basic version. Again, I don't know what the price is for the basic version and the pro version. I'm using the pro version, which has all the features. If you were to use something like basic version, again, in this case, we use the SharePoint task. So this we use this task. This was step 2, execute. So that's part of basic. That's not an issue. What about SharePoint though? Let me search SharePoint. Yep. So see how the SharePoint features when it comes to let me make sure SharePoint download files. It's not part of the basic version. It's only part of the pro version. The pro version is the one that I'm using right now. I'm trying to think how much did I pay. There it goes. Here it goes right here. So this is pro one license, a pro. This is not right. Let me see. Hold on, that's not right. This is their subscription model. I didn't pay for their subscription model. I got the where you pretty much buy it up front model. Man, unless they don't do that no more. I wonder if they changed the way they. I'm trying to think now. What is it? I swear I don't remember this being a monthly charge. I swear this was like a one-time. That's what I'm trying to see. If you're trying to split up the files, like assuming that you have one SharePoint file folder and you have, let's say, 50 files, and you're trying to build some logic that says, okay, move some of the files here, this folder in an S3 bucket, and then move some of the other files into another bucket and another bucket. I think that is doable. Like, let me check real quick. I believe the way that would be done would be, so if I look at this upload files to like this step, I believe there's some conditions that we could add. Not my bad, not that, but under the execute. So there is, and that would actually be part of your S3 argument. So for example, I'm trying to think. It's been a while since I've done this, but let's take a look at it real quick. So for example, this would be, let me see, AWS command line interface S3 contains let me see. There it goes. See how we have include and exclude? So if I were to add, let's say, I'm trying to think of an example. Let me go back to my. Nope, this is not it. Where is it at? Here it goes. So I'm going to rename one of these. So see how this is called sales report? Right, so all right, so I'm gonna change one of these names, or let me see if I could do just a copy, like a duplicate. I guess I can't duplicate it from here. Let me just do rename, then that's fine. So let's say I'm going to rename it to, instead of sales report, I'm going to call it calls report, right? Like one file has call information, the other one has sales information. So as long as your file name has some kind of structure where you could say, I want to move all the calls to one folder and the sales to another folder, then yeah, I think that what we could do here would be we could follow some kind of pattern here. So let's kind of test that out. We could do something like, let's see. So let me go back to, let me move this up. So for example, let's say this first step, we're gonna call this upload files to S3, and I'm gonna say sales because I only want to move sales only, right? So if I go to my arguments, I could do something like include space double quotes, and I'm gonna say star sales star double quotes. And I believe this should only find the sales files only. So now that being said, let's go to my S3 bucket. I'm going to create another folder. So under staging, I'm going to create, let's say I create a folder. I'm going to call this sales. Okay. And then I'm going to create another folder, and I'm going to call it calls. So we have sales and calls in here, right? So let me move this out the way. Which means I'm going to, inside this folder, it's going to only upload it to sales. Right? I'm going to hit OK. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to do a clone. It just makes it easier. I don't have to redo everything. My name, I'm going to call it calls. Then we do execute. Same thing. I'm going to change my folder, my path, and my S3 bucket to calls. And then under include, it's going to be calls. I think that's what, did I call it calls with an S at the end? Let's see. Yep, calls. There you go. All right, and I'm gonna hit OK. All right, cool. So now let me go back. So what should happen? If I rerun this, let's see if it runs. Let's make sure that worked properly. But if I rerun this, it should download all the files again locally to one folder, and then once it's in my folder, it should only upload the sales files to the sales folder and the call files to the call folder. So let's see if that works. Now again, if it does work, and I guess we'll find out here in a minute. Alright, so let's see. Damn, it created another folder. Man, you know what? I probably spelled it wrong. I'm pretty sure I did spell it wrong. Damn it. So now let me go back. And this will be the sales. So this is not right. No, this is right. What the hell? Sales. That's right. Okay. So maybe this one's not right. Did I forget to change it here? Cause. Alright, well that's fine. So let's see. So that doesn't look good. It showed that it moved 3 files completed. This one did not move anything. Okay, so that must have not worked then, because let me make sure that it downloaded the files properly. Let me check. Oh, we don't have any files here. Let me run this step. All right, while that runs, I'm gonna get me another drink. Damn, is it running? Yeah, there it goes. It is running. There it goes. I don't know why it was just taking a while. Okay, which is valid. Sales and calls. Okay. I want to just test this out. I want to run calls real quick. If I run calls, is it going to run all three? And it did run all three. So that's not good, because that's supposed to upload all three. So if I look at the logs, and this is cool, and a lot of the logs does kind of give you some insight. It does show that it moved it to the calls folder. And let's take a look at it to see if that is what happened. Oops. There it goes. So that's not good, because it's obviously did not separate it out. So let me go back. I'm trying to think, because I want to say I had some issues at one point, but I don't know if it's because my wild card. Let me do something. I'm gonna put the file extension .csv. I don't think that should matter though. But let's try one more time. Okay, so now let's try again. We're gonna run it from the beginning. Let's see what we get. It'll tell us here if it loads properly or not. Cause if it does, what should happen? This should say 2. This should say 1. Nope. Damn it, man. Okay, so that's not working. So I know I'm looking at the docs real quick, and it has the wild card, right? The star, then dot. But it seems to be, maybe it doesn't allow like the way I'm trying to use it anyways, which is, let's read this real quick. This command exclude BA does not match, does not match. Does match, exclude. This command will only upload files ending with the .jpeg. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, that maybe doesn't allow like the way I'm using it, right? So I know this works, but I was hoping it'd be a little bit more loose, on more flexible. So for example, let's look at the Sharepoint site. So see how the file is called sales reports, and then of course it's call reports, you know, and so on. what I'm about to do, I know works. I just don't know if this would work in your case, right? Since we do have a clean format, we will just have one wildcard in the beginning because that's the data that's kind of like a variable that changes, right? And then ultimately, it will be sales rep. All right, guys. I don't know what happened. I got disconnected somehow. But I think we're good. No, we're good. I actually got disconnected from my server as well that I was connected to, but I think we're good now. There it goes. All right, so let me save this, and let's do the same thing for this other one. Oops. All right, so now let's run it again from the beginning. Let's see if this works. I think this should work, but I was just hoping it would have been more um allow me to just kind of do like it contains, right, logic. I think what it allows me to do, you could do like if it begins or if it ends with a certain text, then you should, be able to nope, damn it, man. It did not work. You know what? And I think I had an issue like this for some reason. On one of the projects I was working on, and I believe I got stuck where I kind of followed, looking at the documentations. But you know what? I think it's this though, man. I bet you may have to include the exclude star, then only add what you wanted to. So let me try this. I bet you that's what it is. You know what? I don't recall doing that before. Whenever I was doing my testing, and that's probably why it did not work. Which is kind of odd, like why you need to include a exclude, and then I don't know. But either way, let me just add it to see if this fixes the issue. All right, let's see. Let's give it a try. All right, cool. So now let's try again. Let's see what. Let's run it now. So again, if this works, this should be 2 files. It should be 1 file. 2 files, 1 file. Perfect. It worked. So let me try to think. Well, probably what I should have done. Let me try. Let me do one more test. Because if this works, then man, we're golden. So for my include, I don't want to specify the ending piece. I just want to specify sales, right? I just specify sales only, which means a contained word, a word that contains the word sales. We know that if I specify the full, not the full, but like the ending part of the name, like if that's even possible, that does work. But I want it to be more flexible where I just specify a keyword, right? In this case, it will be cause. Let me put a star. Let me go back, and I want to delete all these files. Let's start fresh. Delete. Cool, so that's been deleted. Now let me go to my, I don't know why the hell what happened here, but let me delete that. All right, and then let me delete these files. All right, cool. Everything's been deleted, right? So now let's run it one more time. And if this works, dude, this is gonna be awesome. Cause this is an issue I actually had, and I got stuck on it. But I saw what I was missing. I was missing the exclude piece of it. I didn't think I had to add exclude because in my mind I was thinking, hey, just as long as I add what I want to be included, we should be fine. I guess it doesn't work that way. You gotta put exclude as well, and then also specify what you want to include. Oh, damn, it worked, guys. It worked. 2 files, 1 file, and I did it by keyword. In this case, it searched for sales or cause only. That's it. I don't need to specify that it's a CSV file or a report, none of that. As long as they found those 2 keywords, it was able to slice it up pretty much, like identify it, and then of course load it. So let's just go and confirm real quick. So let me refresh. Yep, 2 files. And then of course cause 1 file. Perfect. So that worked. That actually. So again, kind of going back to answering your question, can you load into 2 folders? Then the answer is yes, but you gotta have some kind of way to determine what are you gonna take, like from a naming convention, right? From the files. If the files are very like random generated names, then obviously I don't think that's gonna work. But as long as there's some kind of pattern in the files, some kind like the way in my case, I pulled the word calls or sales, then yeah, you could split them up and load them to the right buckets or folders, better yet. In this case, it's 1 bucket with many folders. You could put them in 2 different buckets if you want, but this works as well. Let's see. Automate this pipeline. What do you mean, I guess, by automate the pipeline? So like you're talking about the job that I just kind of created. So like if we wanted to automate this now that we have the job working, and we wanted to get it to run automatically, that's where we have triggers. There's this trigger tab. Let me kind of go into it. So you have 2 different types of triggers. You could have it just run once on schedule, your interval, or you could have a custom. So let me just kind of show you both real quick. This one will be we want to run one. We don't have to put a description; it'll auto populate. But we could say we want it to run daily, right, or hourly even. Let's just say daily for now. 1 time a day, every 1 day, or every other day, or whatever. But in our case, 1 day, right, every day. Then you just specify when you want it to start running. So if I want this to run like, again, this is UTC time, the server, which I'm central, so that means that's 5 hours ahead. If I wanted this to run at midnight, that would be what, 5 a.m. And then that would be just run on midnight every day, right? That's the way you would kind of use this, the interval trigger, and it would just run automatically. Now, if you wanted to do a custom timer, the custom timer gives you a little bit more other functionality. Like you could have it run. You want it to run by year. Let's say you want to run every month. You want it to run. You could specify the days. Maybe you want it to run only Monday through Friday, and that's what you would do. Let's see. Let me do choose days, and I will do deselect days, or choose weekdays. Deselect, and I could just say run Mondays, right? Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and let's see. You missed the above message. In the same bucket, can we have 1 file for 1 folder instead of all 3 files in the same folder? Which message? My bad if I missed your message. To Redshift. Okay. And this is the pipeline. Yeah, no, for sure. So for sure, what we did right now, this shows we did the steps of moving it from SharePoint to an S3 bucket, and ultimately the next steps that we would do after that would be to we would use AWS. In this case, I would use AWS Glue, and we would run a crawler for each S3 bucket to ultimately create a table which gives us the schema of that data, and then we would create a job off that schema, like a AWS Glue job that would ultimately load to a Redshift database. So I would say for that piece, let's wait to another day. The only reason why I say that is because I do need to get some things set up for Redshift in order for that to work, for I could display. I don't have a test environment today for Redshift, so I do have a production environment for Redshift. But again, I don't want to load any data in my production environment. But let me get a development Redshift spun up first. And then once I get all that set up, then yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll show you. We'll kind of walk through those steps of having that pipeline pretty much working from beginning to end of download files, load files to 2 different folders in S3 bucket. And then from there, we could create we ultimately create 2 jobs that would run, that would extract, grab that data, and then load that data over to Redshift. And then what we will also do, we would take, once we finish loading the data to Redshift, we would take the data from the staging folder, and then we will move it to like an archive folder. Like if you want to keep a record of those files, right? To have have a copy of it. And then so you will have the process. That's kind of the way the process will be: download from Sharepoint, upload an S3 bucket to the proper folders, then execute AWS Glue job to load that data over to a Redshift database. And once that's completed, we would have another step to move the files from a staging S3 bucket folder over to an archive folder, just to kind of archive the files, so you can kind of have that for record keeping. But before we do that, let me get it set up first. Again, I don't have a development environment set up right now, so let me get that set up first for testing, and then yeah, we'll kind of walk through that process, and we could do that in one of the other live streams for sure. Honestly, I think that would be a good video to make as well, so I will probably make a video of that as well. But nevertheless, I think we could do that in a live stream, so I could kind of walk you through the process as well, kind of explain. You said the same thing about Power Automate. Can we use that for Sharepoint and S3? So Power Automate, I do believe for Sharepoint we can. I was looking into that actually, because I wasn't for sure about the S3 portion of it. But that one, let me see. You know what? I'm actually logged into my account, so maybe I could look at it from over here. Let's see. Power Automate. So I use Power Automate. I actually use it for my business. Whenever one of my employees, when they drop files to the Sharepoint site, one of our clients, we give them access to a specific folder in Sharepoint, and they go download their files. So somebody from my team, whenever we generate a report that we give them every Friday, they drop it into the folder. Well, we create a Power Automate job where if a file gets dropped in the folder, it'll send an email message automatically to the client to let them know, hey, a report is ready to be downloaded, and it provides in the email body a download link. They could go ahead and download it, and so on. But yeah, I would have to see about the S3, AWS S3. Let's see what they have here. I'm not 100% sure. So it sounds like the only function they have here is when an S3 bucket is updated, and also you got to pay for that as well. So it's one of those. It's considered a premium feature. So a premium feature you got to pay for. I don't know what the cost is or whatever. That I'm not sure. But yeah, but it sounds like it doesn't have what we're looking for. It seems like the only feature it has is for a trigger purpose, which in this case it would trigger an event that starts the flow. So ultimately, this is saying is like if somebody drops a file in an S3 bucket, then ultimately that would trigger some kind of event to do other stuff. The other stuff could be send an email or maybe I don't know. Like a good example would be because Azure has connectors that you could connect to an S3 bucket in order to extract data from an S3 file, and then load it to, let's say, a database or whatever. Um, it does have like a data pipeline to do that. It may be able to trigger that job or something, but I don't think for what you're trying to do, I don't think this is not for that. Let's see. Maybe in our next going forward live session, we work on the use case SharePoint S3 glued Redshift. Yep. Connect this to Tableau. I'll share the data set and Tableau file with you. Yeah, no, that for sure. We could do that. That's not a problem. I think we got the main piece, and the main piece that I wasn't for sure, and which we kind of figured it out with, which is the download from SharePoint and of course load it to S3. That piece is working. Now the other stuff we're trying to do, I know for a fact that's doable because I've done it many times. I just need to set up my environment. I just don't have it set up right now for testing. The only environments that I have is production environments. So once I get that set up, we could do that. We could either do it on the Tuesday live stream or Friday. But I'll save that for whenever you join, right? So if you're able to join Tuesday, we could do it Tuesday. If you don't join until Friday, then of course I'll save it to Friday, and then we'll kind of walk through that process as well, so you kind of see how that's done. What else? Let's see. So go is each time data is updated to SharePoint, the Tableau dashboard should also get updated. So if they're dropping new file, I think that's what you're saying. When new files get dropped into SharePoint, or it doesn't even have to be new files, but if they're updating existing files, if you're running the process daily, then yeah, it'll take those files or the updated file, and ultimately it will update the Redshift database with that data. And then, and because your Tableau is connected to that data, you're right. Your Tableau will show the fresh data set for sure. Yep. So that would work. There's things that we could probably do. I'm just trying to think. But without a doubt, if there's changes happening, I think one option that you could do would be just run it nightly, right? Run it every day, Monday through Friday at night, and it would just reprocess the files. So I'm assuming that there may be just one file that somebody's updated over and over again, or maybe a few files, but they're being updated over and over again. If that's the case, then of course that would be one way to do it. Just download, run the job nightly at night, and if there were changes done on that file, it'll pull those changes down, and then ultimately it'll get reloaded to Redshift. And then, of course, the following day, when most likely people are active and using Tableau, it'll show the whatever changes were done the previous day. So that would work for sure. That's kind of what I do on some of my jobs, like production jobs that I'm doing for one of my clients. We're extracting QuickBook enterprise data, not the QuickBooks online data, but the enterprise, which that's not a cloud system. It's more like a system that lives on a server. It needs to live on a server, but it's not cloud based. But either way, I created a process, same concept. The only difference is in that specific process, because I'm doing this kind of similar to what you're doing. I have to extract data from the QuickBooks enterprise system, and then ultimately I upload that to an S3 bucket. Then it gets loaded to a Redshift database, and then once it get it does get loaded to the Redshift database. And then I got some procedures that run. The procedures are doing different things. They're moving data from staging to a reporting tables, and then there's other stuff that occurs in the procedures that get executed. and then ultimately that'll reflect. In this case, it's not Tableau, it's Power BI, but nevertheless, same concept. It's a BI tool, right? It'll reflect in the BI tool, and I have that runs. In my case, it runs 4 times a day. That just more so because the client wants to see changes throughout the day as things are being updated. So you could always run it more than once. Just really up to you on how many times you want to run it. Tuesdays work for me. I will let you know in advance. Monday for sure. Yeah. Again, just let me know if that's the case. We could work on that on Tuesday. If not, we could work on it Friday if you're on Friday. So just but either way, just let me know. I'll save us doing that until you do join. Because it is, again, it's more your request in a way, so it doesn't really make sense for me to do it if you're not on. But I think it's a good video to do over, so that's something I may make a video over as well to kind of show the process of how to do that. And ultimately, we're doing really no code so far. Only thing we did was a command line, but again, that's not. I don't consider that code. It's just a command that we're running. But yeah. Pretty much so far it's been done. What we did it without any code, so it works. All right, guys, what time is it? Man, it's already 11 o'clock. Damn, time went by pretty quick. But we got a lot done today, man. I feel like we got a lot done. We updated your app. That seems to be working better. I'll push those code changes probably after the stream. I'm gonna be done in the stream in a few minutes, so I'll push that after the stream. And then of course you could review it or get those changes from the my GitHub repo. And yeah, man, I think it was good. I actually learned something today. I've been stuck, dude. I have been stuck for the longest on. I had a scenario where I was trying to upload specific file only, like the way I was trying to do, but I had issues with it. The issue that I was having was I only specified includes in my argument in my AWS command line interface. I only specified include. So what was happening is when I ran the job, it was uploading all the files, and I was stuck. Like, why the hell is it uploading? I didn't realize until right now. Right? Again, I should have read the docs better, and that's my mistake. But I needed to exclude as well, and then passing the argument for include or what it is I want to include. Damn. Again, at least now I know, man. That actually helps me out for these other projects. One of my other projects that I was working on. So hey, I learned something today, and again, it's kind of how you learn, right? Just kind of be testing, trial and error, and figure out what works, and eventually you find out what does work and what doesn't work. But man, this is interesting. Kind of going back to this real quick. I swear, it seems like they have a monthly model, which I think is kind of odd because they did not have that before. I swear I did. When I purchased my license, I bought it. It was like a yearly license, or maybe not yearly. I think it was a year. It's unlimited. Like you buy and you own it, but you get 1 year worth of updates for that license. And the license that I got was the pro version. I don't know. I need to look into this. I don't know. It's odd because now it shows this is monthly, and I swear it was not monthly before. So maybe I'm missing something. But either way, yeah, man. I'm glad that we're able to solve some of your problems. So again, man. These sessions have been good, man. I mean, they I find them exciting, right? Again, I learned something new today. It was exciting. So I think it was good, man. It was a good session, man. And I appreciate you too as well, man. I appreciate you jumping on the live. I know you've been real active in my streams, and again, it's good, man. I mean, I'm glad that you're learning as well. Been able to help you out. So I do appreciate you jumping on the streams as well, and being a follower, man, as well. So that's much appreciation from my side for sure. Again, just let me know whenever you do join. We'll kind of go through some of the other ones. What I'll probably do is probably gonna try to get the environment set up by Monday, and hopefully if I get it set up by Monday, I think on Tuesday, if you join on Tuesday, then um we could review that in the live stream on Tuesday. But if not, we'll do it on Friday if you join on Friday. So again, no pressure to jump on Tuesday either if you're busy. But just let me know which day you are gonna join the live stream, and I'll make sure that have things ready and we kind of go through those steps to kind of get that done on that live stream. But again, man, appreciate anybody who jumped in, who's watching. I've been liking the live streams, man. This is like my ninth live stream, maybe, like pretty much consistent. No, 10th live stream in a row. Pretty much for the last couple of weeks. I'm enjoying it, man. I'm actually having fun. I think it's working out good, man. And again, those of you who are joining, appreciate it. Those of you who have been following me, I appreciate it as well. I've been gaining some, decent followers, probably a good 15, 20 followers a day the last couple of weeks. So, which is good. It's good. Helping to build my channel nice and slow, but it's growing. So again, man, appreciate it. Much love. Thanks for joining. And I think that's it, man. That's it for the live stream. See y'all in the next live stream.